The shadows of Mount Gorgarling stretched long behind them as Rorik Ironhand and his companions, Veldrin the half-elf and Ragnveld, the battle wizard, journeyed onward. The air, though crisp, felt heavy with unspoken questions. Rorik's fingers traced the outline of the ruby-like seed in his pouch, a parting gift from the enigmatic Aloria. Her voice echoed in his memory, a promise and a puzzle. In time of need, just crush this seed on the ground and help will arrive. What kind of help? What dire need would force his hand? He shook his head, trying to focus on the path ahead. The jagged peaks gave way to the sprawling expanse of the Acria Plains. A sea of golden grass swayed under a vast, open sky, a stark contrast to the oppressive gloom of the mountain they had just left. Veldrin, his keen, half-elven eyes scanning the horizon, moved with a silent grace, his hand never far from the bow slung over his shoulder. Ragnvalda, his long white beard flowing over his enchanted armor, walked with a measured, powerful gait, his staff tapping a rhythmic beat against the dusty earth. His ancient eyes seemed to hold the wisdom of ages, yet even he seemed contemplative, sensing the shift in their journey's purpose. They walked for what felt like days, the sun beating down on them, the wind whispering secrets through the tall grass. It was during one of these long, quiet stretches that they saw him, a lone figure sitting by a weathered milestone, an old man with skin like tanned leather and eyes that held a peculiar light. As they drew closer, the old man looked up, his gaze fixing directly on Rorik. He didn't seem surprised, almost as if he had been waiting for them. He introduced himself as Halder, a traveler of the plains. Halder's voice was raspy, like stones grinding together, but his words were clear. He looked at Rorik intently. "You are not from this realm," he stated, not as a question, but as a fact. "Your Aoda. It sings a different song, a tune of a world far from here." Rorik was taken aback. How could this stranger know his deepest secret? Before Rorik could even form a response, Halda continued, a faint smile playing on his lips. "I know you seek a way home. There is a path, a gateway between worlds. Not far from here, a jolt of oak sharp and potent shot through Rorik home. The word itself was a balm to his soul. Ead Fucht bled and survived in this strange land, but the longing for his own world had never faded. Veldrin and Ragnvald exchanged a look, their expressions a mixture of surprise and caution. "Where is this gateway?" Rorik asked, his voice thick with emotion. Halder pointed with a gnarled finger toward the distant horizon, where the plains met a line of dark, craggy hills. "Beyond those hills lies an ancient ruin. Within its heart, a portal pulses with energy, a doorway back to your home." The old man's expression then grew somber, his eyes darkening like a gathering storm. "But the path is not unguarded. The portal is a source of immense power, and such things always draw darkness to them." "What guards it?" Ragnvald interjected, his hand tightening around his staff. His wizard's intuition was screaming a warning. Halder's gaze fell. "A demon general, a being of shadow and flame known as... He has claimed the portal as his own, feeding on its energy and corrupting the land around it. He and his legion of fiends prevent any from passing through. To use the portal, you must first defeat its master." The hope that had surged in Rorik's chest was now tempered with a cold dose of reality. A demon general. The name Azrael sounded like a death knell. He had faced orcs, goblins, and monstrous beasts, but a demon was another matter entirely. He looked at his companions. Veldrin's face was a mask of grim determination, his hand now resting on the hilt of his sword. Ragnald's eyes burned with a cold fire, the arcane energies around him already beginning to stir. They had come this far together, bound by fate and friendship. They wouldn't turn back now. "Thank you, Halder," Rorik said, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside him. "You have given us a destination. You have given us a purpose." Halder simply nodded. "The path is laid before you. Whether you have the strength to walk, it is up to you." With those final words, the old man seemed to almost fade into the landscape, leaving them alone once more on the vast plain. Silence fell upon the trio, the weight of Halder's revelation settling upon them. A path home, guarded by a demon of immense power. It was a daunting, almost impossible task. Rorik broke the silence. Well, it seems we have a plan. Veldrin raised an eyebrow. Do we? It sounds more like we have a suicide mission. No, Ragvold sighed, his deep voice resonating with power. We have an objective. Every fortress can be breached. Every god can be overcome. Azrael may be powerful, but he is not invincible. Rorik nodded in agreement. Ragnold is right. We can't just charge in. Azrael is a general. He'll have defenses, strategies. We need a plan of our own. They set up camp as dusk began to paint the sky in hues of orange and purple. Around a crackling fire, they began to strategize. Veldrin, Rorik began. You are our eyes and ears. We need you to scout the ruins. Learn the layout, the number of guards, their patrol routes, any weakness you can find, no matter how small. Veldrin nodded, his expression serious. I'll be a ghost. They won't know I was there until it's too late. Rorik then turned to the battle wizard. Ragnvold, we need to know what we're facing. Azrael is a demon. What are their weaknesses? What kind of magic does he command? Your knowledge will be our sharpest weapon. Ragnvold stroked his long beard, his mind already delving into ancient lore. Demons of his rank are often vulnerable to holy magic and pure arcane energy. They thrive on fear and chaos. We must remain disciplined. I will prepare wards of protection and spells of binding and banishment. But his power will be great. My magic alone may not be enough to hold him for long. Then we won't give him long, Rorik declared, a fire in his eyes. Once Veldrin finds us an opening and Ragvold prepares the necessary enchantments, we strike. We hit them fast and hard. We create a diversion, draw out the main force, and while they're occupied, we go straight for the head. We fight our way to Azrael. He looked at his two friends, his voice filled with conviction. This won't be easy. It might be the hardest fight of our lives, but the path home is right there. We just have to clear the way. Veldrin gave a sharp, determined grin. Just point me at what needs an arrow in it. Ragmold's eyes gleamed with arcane light. The weave of magic will be our shield and our sword. A new sense of resolve settled over their small camp. The fear was still there, a cold knot in their stomachs, but now it was overshadowed by a plan, a purpose, and the unshakable bond between three warriors. As Rorik stared into the flickering flames, his hand once again found the seed in his pouch. Eloria's words returned to him. In time of need, ... Was this that time? Not yet, he decided. This was a battle they had to face with their own strength, their own courage. The seed was a last resort, a final, desperate gamble. The journey to the dark hills would begin at dawn. A plan was forged in the firelight, a daring gambit against a demonic foe. Will their combined skills be enough to overcome the might of Can a swordsman, an archer, and a wizard truly defeat a general from the abyss? Only fate knows what awaits them in the shadow of the portal. But one thing is certain. Rorik, Ironhand and his companions will not face it with fear, but with fire in their hearts and steel in their hands. The final battle for the road home is about to begin. Thank you for watching this chapter of Rorik's saga. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more adventures. We'll see you in the next one.